First of all, we have to find out what you have at the present. That's the CPU, the socket type, the motherboard, the chipset, and your motherboard BIOS version. If you Google CPU-Z, it brings you up with this page. Download the current version on the top right hand side, set up English, and then run and install it. And this is what you'll end up with. The processor is an Intel Core Duo E6400. The socket is a 775 LGA. If you click on main board at the top now, you can find that it is an ASUS P5B Deluxe. The chipset is a P965/G965, and the BIOS version is 1238. Now you're going to identify what replacement you're going to get. This can be on price, the model, the cores, the clock speed and performance. Now you have your motherboard information. In this case it was ASUS P5B Deluxe. You should now go to the manufacturer's website for your motherboard and go to the support side of that, and it should list the supported CPUs for that product. Now you're faced with the choice of picking one of these CPUs. So there's some basic rules for choosing these CPUs. You've got different models. You've got the 4 series Celeron. The higher the number, generally the better the CPU. You've got the Celeron D. Again, the higher the number, the better the CPU. So this one will be better than this one, which will be better than this one. So it moves all the way down. The higher the number of the model, generally the better it is. So the one I've got in this just now is the Core 2 Duo 6400. Now you've got Pentium dual core processors as well. You've just got to watch this. The Pentium is generally a better processor all round. So a 6400 Pentium will outperform a 6400 Core 2 Duo. I would go as far as say the E6300 Pentium would outperform the Core 2 Duo 6400. So that one here is not the best processor, but I mean it's okay for what it was doing. It was a very low wattage. It was on a lot, so that was good. That was a 65 watt maximum power rating. We can go down here and there's some quad core processors as well. Now if you've got 4 cores, it's obviously better than 2 cores. If they're at the same clock speed on the 2 cores as the 4 cores, the 4 core wins every time. So obviously the highest model here, again generally the higher clock speed, the better performing CPU. So this motherboard can only support 4 cores, so this would probably be the best processor for the motherboard. Now it depends on what you're weighing it up against. Price wise it would be more expensive, but if you want pure performance, that would be the one. I'm not looking for that, I'm looking for a balance here. Now the Pentiums, the Pentium 4s, they're getting outdated now, but you tend to find a higher clock speed, but it's a single core. There you go though, you've got the 672 as a 3.8 GHz, but it's 1 core compared to the 4 cores on the Q series. You've got the Pentium Ds, which is 2 core, or a dual core, and you can get a Pentium D960, which is a fairly good card. It would probably be between that and the quad core. So it's really up to yourself now. You've got to balance all these things up. I will show you a website shortly that will help you do that. So what I'm going to look at now, I'm fairly familiar with these, so I'm going to probably go with the Pentium E-Series rather than the Core 2 Duo E-Series, because I'll get more bang for my buck, if you know what I mean. So I'll probably look at the 83 or sorry, the 63 or 6500. Both of those run at 65 watts. I'm getting a slightly higher clock speed. Everything else on the card is the same, but a slightly higher clock speed. If I go to the 6700, the power supply or the power rating will increase slightly. So I'm going to compare some of these, or show you how to compare some of these processors now. Right, so now you know all your CPU options. You just need to pick one. So I would recommend you go to Compare CPUs, which is cpuboss.com. And well, you've got your, let's start with the one that we've already got in here, which is E6400. That's Intel Core 2 Duo. And we'll compare that with the, let's go with the quad core, which is the it's the Q9650. Now we just compare. And you get all the pros and cons. Don't worry about that. That's a bit of a hit or a miss, that number. And the price as well, obviously don't worry about that, because that's, you can get them on eBay second hand for half that price, quarter the price even. So anyway, here we go. This is a quad core, and this is the one that's in it just now. So this is performance, single core performance. This is basically just on clock speed just now. The Core 2 Duo overclocks, the quad one doesn't. So again, it's everything, you've got to take everything into account here. The CPU boss score is higher on the quad core than the dual core. And if you go down a bit, it says reasons to consider the quad core, and then it's got reasons to consider the Core 2 Duo. And it gives you all the pros and cons for that. So you've got to make your decision based on that. So let's compare something else. Right, I don't want this one because the price on that one is a good few £100. I've not got that kind of budget. I'm probably looking at something under £50 just now. So and also the quad core, it's a newer card. The technology that's made it gives the performance, and it also keeps the power rating down as well. So that's a good card, good performance, but out of my budget just now. So let's compare now the Pentium, sorry, the D960, which is this one here. Sorry, we're comparing that with the quad core again. As you can see here, the quad core is slightly better than this one. It is actually quite a bit better than this one. But again, that depends on what you want. You'll get it runs a lot warmer, more power, but the 960 you'll get cheaper. So again, you've got to weigh these things up. Right, let's go back and compare something that I'm going to be looking at. So let's go with the E6300, the Pentium, and we'll go with the E6400 with Core 2 Duo, and you will see that the Pentium outperforms it. Price wise, they're fairly similar. You'll probably get the Pentium. Pentium will be slightly more expensive as it has a better card. There you go, you've got the reasons to consider the Pentium 6300. You've got more reasons basically. And its performance is quite significantly better, as you can see. So that's a 65 watt card. I'm going to go and see if I can keep that card, but push it up slightly to the 6500. Then you've got the 6500K, which is the same card except it's unlocked. The multiplier's unlocked, so that's for overclocking. You don't need to worry about that. So, sorry, the 6500, we'll compare that with the 6300, and you'll see the Pentium version, and you'll see the difference. It won't be much of a difference. It'll just be slight increase in clock speed. That will be it. everything else will be the same. Everything else down here is the same. Same power consumption, which is excellent. That's what I'm looking for. But you can see the slight increase in clock speed has paid off, but it is very minimal. Right, so I'm going to compare the two cards that I'm thinking about now. So this is the one that's in it, the E6400, and I'm thinking about the E6500 Pentium compared to the Intel Core 2 Duo. So price wise, and the manufacturing process is slightly improved as well. The lower the number there, the better it is. So you can see the 6500 outperforms it quite significantly. Again, I said that though, don't worry about these numbers. That's personal preference, that's just opinions. So here we are. After deciding on what processor I wanted, I had to go get one. So I watched TV for a few days and I got this one. So this is the E6500, which is the one I was looking at. I paid a little bit extra for it, £10 plus £6 postage, because it's boxed. It has the cooler with it, and it also has some thermal paste. Now obviously you're going to have these things when you fit yours. Hopefully you can use your existing cooler, but you'll certainly need some thermal paste, so we need to get some of that ordered as well. So now we need to make sure and prepare our system properly so that it can receive the new CPU. So we'll go back to this BIOS version. On the main board on the CPU-Z software, we have the BIOS version. In this case it was 1238. Now it's the same in CPUs, the higher the number, the more modern the BIOS version. So I go back now to the ASUS website, and this is the processor I chose. So you can see here the BIOS version at the end here is 1238. So I'm fine. I don't need to update the BIOS. If you did need to update the BIOS, it's fairly easy. You just go to the support page and download the latest BIOS version and the BIOS installation software or utility, and just update the BIOS to the latest version. On screen now is the link to see exactly how to remove the old CPU and put in a new CPU.